Hey folks, Aaron here. This is a quick PSA for those of you who subscribe here, but also listen to the podcast on a typical podcast app. But I will try to keep it brief. Let's talk for a moment about podcast ads. On the podcast version of Lore, you're going to hear two kinds of ads. Some are voiced by me, and those are ads that I approved of personally, which makes sense, right? I mean, seeing as how I recorded them with my own mouth. The other kind of ads, though, are the ones that sound like TV or radio commercials. They're pre-made by these companies themselves. They're put into a directory. They've got those flashing sounds and all sorts of stuff. They really sound like TV commercials without the visuals. Now, the podcast industry term for that kind of advertisement is called programmatic. And here's the important thing that I need you to remember. They don't get individually approved like the ones that I record with my own voice. I don't go through each specific ad and say yes or no, which means that if you hear an ad in that radio or TV style, you cannot assume that I support the message that ad says. Now, I'm bringing this up because of a new problem that a lot of podcasters are having with these programmatic ads. You see, these ads, like I said, are sorted into categories. Things like outdoor living or automotive or vacations. Think of it like music. When you want to listen to music, you might say, I want hip hop, or I want rock, or I want classic. Now, you can turn on or off these ad categories based on what sort of topics you want or want to avoid on your podcast. Personally, I prefer to avoid hot button topics in my ads. So I have the political category turned off, as most other podcasters do. But political activist groups, PACs, know this. So they've started to categorize their ads deceptively, a way to get around these filters. So they might instead place their ad into a charity category to avoid getting blocked by podcasts that have the political category turned off. Which is why, from time to time, you might hear a programmatic ad on Lore that talks about a political candidate or something like guns or abortion. And here's the thing that I need you to understand the most. When you hear those sorts of ads, I did not pick them. In fact, I specifically requested not to allow them into my episodes. But because some organizations are cheating the system, I only find out about those ads when a kind listener like you writes and tells me about it. So, if you ever hear an ad like this, please don't get upset and unsubscribe. Instead, send me a message so I can fix it. I can have that ad turned off and flagged in the system as deceptive. You can leave a comment here. You can send a private message to the Lore account on Instagram, or even say something to us on Threads. I've even created an email address specifically for these issues, so you can send the name of the advertiser to me directly at ads@lorepodcast.com. Look, folks, I want Lore to always be secure so I can cover the production costs and pay my team their well-earned salaries and make sure they have essentials like health insurance. And the truth is that the way ads work in podcasts now has evolved so much in the past decade that podcasters simply cannot avoid these radio-style ads. We either allow them and earn enough to cover our costs, or we refuse them entirely and miss out on a massive chunk of revenue. They are simply the new primary way that companies are spending their ad dollars and the new primary way that podcasters are earning a living. So that's why I'm telling you about it. You can help me fight those crooked companies who put the kinds of ads I specifically blocked into categories where they don't belong. Please, be patient with me. Extend a bit of grace when you hear a questionable ad, and always feel free to reach out or email ads@lorepodcast.com if you hear one. And that's it. That's our family meeting for today. I'll get off my soapbox and I will let you enjoy some more creepy stories. Until next time, stay spooky.